Hi there. So today we are going to talk about how to work and thrive in this situation we have suddenly found ourselves in, which is working remotely. So how to thrive in this situation. And we're going to cover off three main points. So one, how to set some working from home remote standards. Two, setting up some things for the culture of our teams and for ourselves. And three, a bit of a caveat given the fact that we're in a pretty unique situation here, given the fact that we are in a pandemic. So my name is Shauna Stewart Douglas. I am the founder of permissiontoprofit.co, and I'm also the entrepreneur expert here at Women in Leadership. So again, this is a crazy time. This is, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to process. And all of a sudden, here we are here. And a lot of us don't even necessarily would never think that we were going to be working remotely. I mean, maybe it is that we have an office that we would prefer to be in, or working in a co-working space, or working in a coffee shop, or whatever that happens to be. But suddenly here we are sitting at home, and this isn't necessarily what we wanted to do. So I first started working remotely about 10 years ago, and I was really jazzed. I thought this was going to be absolutely fantastic. And honestly, for the most part, it has been. I really do like working from home. But as time kind of went on and I was doing whatever it was I was doing my contracts, I was doing my work, I was finding it really hard to be productive. I was getting really distracted. There was all these kinds of things. Suddenly I'm at home and I was distracted by a million things. And I got some really fantastic advice. And that was to treat my day just as though I was working in a corporate situation, even though I wasn't in one. So that can mean a bunch of different things. So working 9 to 5, if that happens to work for you. Maybe it makes more sense for you to work 2 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the evening, or some combination of that. Maybe rather than Monday to Friday, working Tuesday to Saturday makes more sense for you. I mean, this is a crazy time. Maybe you've got kids at home. Maybe you've got, a spouse that you've got there. Maybe you're suddenly completely alone, and these are all things that are sort of throwing you for a loop. But setting that standard so that it happens to work for you. So even though you know that chances are there's going to be a wrench in the works at some point, at least you have a standard to work from. Okay, so whatever those work chunk blocks look like for you, set them so you know what to expect. A bit of a joke that most of us have probably heard a lot of now, which is put some pants on. Sure, just put some pants on. Pants are always a good idea. Or dress however it is that you feel like you're going to get dressed for the day. I'm not saying you need to be putting on a pantsuit or anything like that, but doing whatever you do, whether that's getting up and doing some exercise in the morning, having your shower, putting a brush through your hair if that happens to be your jam. If not, no big deal. If putting makeup on is your jam, fine. If not, no big deal. But whatever it happens to be is doing the things that help to make you feel like you're in a place to take the next step in your business, to reach out to make a phone call, to doing those things in your business that you feel or that you know need to be done. Now, 2 is helping to establish and create the culture around working remotely. Now, just like we mentioned in the last point, not everybody would ever decide that they wanted to work remotely or working from home. Maybe it's not even something that has ever been on their wish list, but here we are. So there's some things that we can do to make it so that for ourselves as well as for our teams, that we are continuing to move forward and being productive within that environment. So I had a situation a couple of years ago where the company I was working with changed offices. So, and in between working for Office A and then moving over to Office B, there was a bit of a gap and we all worked from home. Now, it was very interesting to see the evolution of what happened to everybody in this remote situation because, again, up until that point, we all saw each other in the office every single day. Now, there are some things that we can do that help to create what would normally happen organically if we're used to working physically with the rest of our teams. All right, so we've all seen Zoom. Most of us have downloaded Zoom by now or some kind of comparable app. So now we're having those conversations, those face-to-face conversations, which is helping us. Additionally, one-to-ones. So if you don't already have one-to-one weekly meetings with your team, either start those, or if you're already doing it, make sure to maintain it. Okay, we want to make sure that we are keeping those ongoing discussions happening with each of the people that we work with, so that way we know not only what's going on personally for them as human beings, as individuals, but then we also know what's happening with the tasks they're working on, with the projects that are working on, and vice versa, so that we all feel like we are kept in the loop. And speaking of staying in the loop, a good tool can be Slack. Because one of the things that people really want is we want to feel included. We want to feel like we know what's going on. If we don't know what's going on, in the absence of information, we tend to make things up. And maybe we start to get kind of uncomfortable. Maybe we start to get a little bit unsure, right? So we don't want people to feel like they don't know what's going on. So in Slack, you have various channels, and what you can do is conversations that don't need to happen privately, those conversations can happen publicly in the channel, in the chat. So whether it happens to pertain to a specific task or a specific project or a specific question, it can be nice for some of those questions to be happening in the channel so that other people can feel like they know what's going on. You can still start to sense the buzz that's going through and going with your company and with your business, with your team, so that we kind of feel like, again, like we belong, like we know what's happening. We don't feel like we have to keep on going around asking a bunch of questions, trying to fill in the blanks that we're all dealing with and experiencing. Right? So we want to do those things that would otherwise happen organically, which is understanding the ongoing vibe that's happening for the team. We want to create those things in another way through the technology that we have available to us. And 3, which is understanding and appreciating the fact that we're in a really crazy situation right now. We're in a situation that most of us have never had reason to process or understand before. So chances are we have been through some kind of light, cataclysmic, life-changing kind of situation before. Maybe we've had a child. That's the kind of thing that all of a sudden the way you see the world is different. Maybe we've been through a divorce. Maybe we've been through an illness for ourselves or for someone else. These are all things, major crises or major life-changing things that happen that all of a sudden put us in a state of having to rethink what we thought we always knew. What's unique about this situation is that not only are we dealing with our own selves on this, we're also in real time dealing with everyone else, processing their way through this at the same time. And every one of us deal with this differently. Every one of us are going to react in a different way, and we need to have patience for that. We need to have patience for that for ourselves, and we need to have patience for that for the people that we work with, for our contractors, for our teammates, for our families, for our communities, for everyone. And so in addition to, yes, wanting to be creative, wanting to be productive, we also want to make sure that we are being realistic and that we are taking this time to take stock and to protect and nurture ourselves, because this is the time to do it. This is the time that we need to. So once again, there are various things that we can do to help ourselves get to a place where we are feeling good and comfortable in this new reality that we're finding ourselves in. There's things that we can do in terms of establishing some norms for ourselves in our business day and our business week for ourselves and for working remotely. Building things around the culture for working remotely. And again, just having a lot of patience with ourselves, understanding the fact that this is a very unique situation. So I wish you health. I wish you well. Be sure to check back. We're going to be doing some more of these videos. Make sure to check out my website, permissiontoprofit.co, and be sure to check out the Women in Leadership Facebook page for all the latest updates. Thank you.